Thank you very much. So I just want to briefly introduce what's the purpose and how are we going to go on. So this is my brief introduction. So I've worked in several universities and also worked in the UN on the Convention on Biological Diversity, and also had some time in Hungary working there. So today we start by introducing the purpose of this workshop, and then we move on to the presentation by Professor Liu, and following by Ms. Li, his student, and then we get a comment from Professor Lian. And then we have presentation from Dr. Horie, Dr. Uchiyama, and Dr. Liu, and then followed by Dr. Koyama, and then Professor Park would comment. And then we have a break, and then Dr. Miyake would present, and myself will present, and we have a brief Q&A towards the end. We have a very nice flyer from Ms. Sekikawa, who are working with us, and I think we can share with this with you, and this is very kind of her. Yeah, and I'm sorry, this slide doesn't explicitly say the funding sources, but this is kindly supported by Heiwa Nakajima Foundation, which I will elucidate later on. Plus some elements are from Kaken grant and other research fundings. So you can see we have a long-lasting collaboration, which is traditional forest knowledge and culture in Asia. This was a network with Professor Liu and myself and Professor Yun from Korea, and we have been working on these network for some time. And also with Professor Liu, I'm working with the UFRO division on biocultural diversity, and also division 6 with the rural developments. So these are the elements that we are working on in this framework. So there are several, this workshop is within the framework of the Heiwa Nakajima Foundation, construction of regional consortium for the promotion of knowledge transmission for traditional agriculture and forest products and landscape, promotion of conservation of biodiversity and genetic resource through protection of geographical indication in East Asia, including Japan and China. So it specifically says Japan and China, but of course, we have a wider scope, a wider collaboration. Korea, for example, who are also Dr. Park is present today. But primarily the focus with the Heiwa Nakajima Foundation this time is with China on traditional knowledge, and we also mentioned geographical indication, which I will explain a little bit later on. The main objective is the knowledge transmission of traditional agriculture and forestry products in Japan, in China, and how they are transmitted through generations. And what are the suggestions, implications for reinforcing the knowledge transmission, and how could the system of geographical indications help? Well, some products or some issues, for example, ikebana, or these are not specifically linked with the geographical indications, but we try to discuss how the local aspects, how the terroir, probably in French, plays a role in this kind of cultural or biocultural elements. So this is the website of the Heiwa Nakajima Foundation, who has generously supported this event. We initially planned to conduct face-to-face meeting and face-to-face research. Unfortunately, we have to organize things online given the COVID COVID situation. Now, I also have a kaken with a category B, Kiban B. And there we are focused a bit more on the maps, how usage of the maps and how the climate change and depopulation are affecting tourism, landscape use, or land use policies, and how we can balance the conservation and utilization of genetic resources. Now, traditional knowledge has been old, of course, issues in the academic literature, but recently it has gained another attention, how we can actually digitalize, how we could integrate it into these more ICT-oriented systems, and how these master's knowledge or traditional knowledge be manualized in a way, and how these can be actually transmitted through these digital systems. So this is kind of a new emerging topic. Whether you agree or whether you think this is a good idea is another question. And there, of course, not everything can be transformed into digital information, but still there are a lot of attentions how these, even including traditional knowledge, can be stored and transmitted through these digital systems. Also, the finance sectors are quite interested in what kind of knowledge there exists, and they see chances in conventional use or rediscovering the agriculture and forestry sector as a frontier to apply and utilize these type of knowledge or these type of technologies. This is another example I found in the Nikkei newspaper, which is oriented towards more on economy, and then they sort of claim that how can we revitalize agriculture in rural areas. The idea number 2, which is on the bottom side, it says we can revitalize the traditional knowledge that is existing in this context. And also the government is also interested in integrating, accommodating a traditional knowledge and transforming into more formalized kind of knowledge. Not everything can be transformed, but I think this is type of the areas where the government, central government, currently is very much interested in. And of course, with this knowledge system, there is this way of looking at these knowledge from Polanyi in 1966, and rather classical idea how these tacit knowledge, which cannot be explained necessarily in words, but which are shared in non-verbal way sometimes, but that's whether we can transform this into more explicit knowledge, which you can tell in words, or you can manualize these knowledge and tell others to follow. Whether these are possible in agriculture and forestry products or ways of production is one of the interests that we have. The other elements in this project is the geographical indication. This originates in a system of wine in France, where they say they want to protect the quality together with the area name. So if a certain product is strongly connected or associated with the area, like champagne or Bordeaux wine, for example, then the name should not be used by others because it's associated so strongly with a certain quality from the products from that area. So this is a system that sort of protects, give a special position to a product with a regional name, which usually are not registered because regional names are something for commons. Everybody can use it freely usually. But in case, exceptionally, if the connections are so strong and the association with the quality is so strong intertwined, then they would protect these kind of products specifically with the names, and other areas will not be allowed to use that product names. So this is a way to protect and guarantee certain products from certain areas are with a certain quality, and that can be registered under certain governments. And if the two governments agree, for example, Japan and EU agrees on these scheme, then they would protect mutually these products. For example, certain teas, wines, or products under the GIs in Europe will be also protecting Japan, and the other way around in Japanese products like Matsutake beef or Kobe beef or certain tea, Japanese tea, or you name it. There are 50 or more items that are under these mutual agreements. There are certain discussions with the effects of these GI system. It's a very good, could be potentially a local process for social and economic development. There are certain discussion whether it does contribute to sustainable development, to environmental conservation. The debate is still ongoing. Also, the GI is different from trademarks. Trademarks are, I think, more market-oriented or property-oriented approaches. And these type of discussions are also still ongoing as well. So we don't have a clear conclusion, but it would be quite interesting to see how certain products are commonly used and commonly discussed, shared, these knowledge. But at the same time, how can we protect these products and names, so to speak? So these would be the issues that I would like to discuss. This is an example we looked at in northern Japan, where with the introduction of GI, people started to share these knowledge, not beyond the family members. So not only within the family memberships, but they decided, okay, we're going to share this production know-how, knowledges within the area, because otherwise you can see the production is decreasing, the number of producers are decreasing. Otherwise we will go extinct. So we're going to share this knowledge within the area. Because we're going to register for GI, it will be protected, and other areas will not be able to name the product other than this specific area that are designated. So the quality will be guaranteed as long as it's produced in this area. So that was the agreement within the community. So this GI can be a tool to open up the production knowledge, and the knowledge which were privately or family owned, it could be shared within the community if things works out. The other thing are not specifically for GI, but there are other ways of conserving traditional forestry and agricultural knowledges. That one of these could be the GIA system. I think it's quite popular in Japan, in China, and increasingly more so in Japan. Noto and Sado were one of the first ones that were being registered in 2011. And we have been doing certain analysis in this area. This area also has a GI products as well, but this is more, GIS is more specifically for designation of areas and how traditional agriculture and forestry will be conducted. So this shows how these different registration system partially works. It's just a rough idea how these can be categorized. So again, I would like to thank the founders supporting foundation, Heiwa Nakajima Foundation. Part of these outcomes are use of different research grants, including Asahi Group Foundation and Kakenhi, and also collaboration in the youth flow. So with that, I would like to finish my presentation.